Yeah. I gotta remove this. This looks really bad. Okay, so I have something interesting to share about this shift knob here, right? So obviously, it's not really about the installation. It didn't take that much time, right? Like, obviously, someone who's new to it, it might take like an hour, right? They have no idea how to do it, but I know how to do this. So like, it took like 10 minutes to actually install it, all the way through. But if you look at everything around that, right? It's not in just the 10 minutes that took me to actually, find the wrench to actually bring the car in, whatever, right? If you look at it, right, it's like realistically, like, if you look at it, it's like realistically 30 minutes that it took to actually have this from in the packaging to fully installed in my car and back in my house, back in my room, ready to do work. 30 minutes for a 10-minute job, right? That's how much of an interruption it was to my day. Obviously, like, I like this, right? It's gonna help me shift a little bit better, because I like longer throws. It just is something I'm used to. Obviously, you don't really care about that too much, unless you do, which is cool. But it took about 3 minutes to move my car into the garage. It took about 2 minutes to prepare all the tools for it. It took about 3 minutes to actually install the knob. It took 5 minutes to lock the garage to put my car back outside, and 2 minutes just to test the knob, see how it feels, see if it's not getting loose or anything, and then 15 minutes to get back into the flow of what I was doing before. So my mind said it would only take 10 minutes to install the shifter, right? If you think about it, it did take 10 minutes, but to get from, as I said, the package in my house to installed and back in this room right here to do work again, it took half an hour, and it likely took 10 extra minutes just to get back into the flow of actually doing work and being productive again. So that knocked everything else on my calendar down the line around 30 minutes. So I have to reschedule everything. I had to go into my calendar, move everything back by 30 minutes so that I could actually, be on time and not have less time for this thing compared to the next thing coming up, right? So obviously this doesn't like apply to just installing car parts, but it takes a lot of time to, get back from an interruption and get back into the flow of actually doing work. It's kind of like ADHD to be like distracted by these things, right? But still, everyone gets distracted by these things, and there's a couple of things to actually do to prevent this that I kind of brainstormed and have seen from what I've done in the past. So just batch things together, right? So when you, I guess, like, let's say an example, right? Someone's texting you, right? You respond. It takes 10 seconds to actually send the text and to think of a text, right? But it's not just that. It takes 10 seconds to do that, right? Then you're on your phone. Maybe you're scrolling on like some other like bullshit like social media app, right? For a couple of minutes. Then you get back to, your senses, and you realize you shouldn't be doing this. Then you turn off your phone, and then you're like, what was I doing? What was my train of thought before this? And you have to play catch up with yourself. You could get yourself back to where you were, right? If you didn't have the interruption, then you would continue on, right? And you'd have more productivity. That's why all high performers, they batch their communication, right? So if you batch it, then you take all those tiny interruptions that would steal like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here throughout your whole day, and you batch them into one specific block of your day, which is like 10 minutes maximum. You don't need more than 10 minutes to message like the 5 or 6 people who you care about and, want to get back to. Another way to combat this is to prevent these interruptions from happening at all. So deep work, have your phone on do not disturb, have your phone on airplane mode, put it across the house, across the apartment, wherever, right? If you're like at school, just put it in your bag. You want to have friction from being in touch with your device, right? No specific thing, app, notification, person should be able to reach you. If you really want, you can set like a do not disturb exclusion for like your parents or something. You want to have 0 interruptions, because let's say, right, if someone interrupts you, right, you're calling, right? Calling with my friend, it takes like 30 minutes, right? Minimum, right? So that tiny little like, oh, this is just going to be a 2-minute conversation turns into 30 minutes on its own because it balloons. And on top of that, it takes another 15 minutes to get back into the flow of things. So realistically, an hour of my time has just been stolen from me because I didn't turn on do not disturb mode, right? And I didn't get into a deep work, focused period of work properly. So let's say you're writing an essay. It might take an hour and a half of actual focused work to get it from start to finish, if you really think about it, right? But these tiny interruptions, it balloons it over to like, multiple days, breaks, and you're like, okay, I'll just do the introduction today, the body paragraph tomorrow, right? That's how a 30-second interruption ends up stealing 20 minutes of your time, right? So if you batch things together, the big interruptions of your day, and you only let it interrupt maybe 10 minutes total of your day at the end of the day when no other work is being done, that's the best thing. If you also make sure that you don't get interrupted as well, that's a better thing. And the third thing you can do is just a routine. So having a routine day by day, it basically takes any decisions that would happen throughout your day and just makes it solidify. So I wouldn't have to decide, okay, today at 5 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym, right? Whenever I wake up, I'm going to go to the gym. It doesn't matter. Even if I wake up late, like let's say 6, I'm still just going to go to the gym. It'll just move my day back by an hour. Same thing with like eating and stuff, right? So this is, I think, why I fell off, right? I stopped having the routine other than like the gym, right? I stopped having the routine for everything else in my life and it fell apart, basically. So then I was starting to think about like, what do I eat for breakfast? What do I do later on today, right? And all, like, when there's no routine, there's nothing to do. You don't know what to do. You have to figure out what to do, right? And that's the problem. If you have to figure out what to do, then you're not really going to do anything. You're just going to entertain yourself, play games, you're going to watch YouTube or something, you're going to like watch Netflix, right? And obviously none of that is actually good. That's the major thing I see with people, right? Like if you're, with your friends and you're like, okay, where should we eat, right? If it was a routine and you're by yourself, right? This is what's going to happen, right? Let's say even if you don't know that, look at the difference between the person who knows at 4 p.m. every single day they're going to be eating, let's say chicken, right? Versus the other person who's like, okay, they got off work at 4. One person knows, okay, I get back home, I just cook up chicken, put it in the air fryer, that's it, that's my dinner, right? I know what to do. The other person at 4 p.m., they're like, okay, what do I eat, right? They look at all the options, Osmos, McDonald's, some like random bullshit outside, right? And they're like, okay, do I eat this? What do I eat this? Where do I go? Oh, no, this, if I go to Osmos, there's going to be like a big line. There's going to be traffic if I go this way. I'll go this way then, right? And you see the person who has that routine, they're done and dusted by 5 p.m. Everything is done. Their eating is done. And they're ready to do work. By 5 p.m., the person who doesn't know, who doesn't have that routine, hasn't decided anything yet. And they're just wasting time. What I normally do is I just decide the day before. I put it in my calendar, every single thing I'm going to do. And I try to my best ability to get these things executed. So I don't really have to think, okay, right now it's 10:32. I don't know what I should be doing, right? I open up my calendar. Boom. I open my calendar, right? And what it says right now to do, well, when you look at that, it says video work. So guess what I'm doing? Video work. I'm recording a video. So this is something I just realized this morning, right? Right after installing the shift, now I'm like, it's gonna take 10 minutes, right? It's not gonna like impact my day because I'm ahead of time, right? If I looked at it, right, I started at like 8. Realistically, by around 9, I actually started getting into the work of things and, thinking about like, okay, what video do I record? What do I do, right? If you like this video, then you might like some of my earlier videos. You can go ahead and check them out if you want. If you don't, then watching more of this video is probably an interruption. Watching any other videos is probably an interruption to what you're trying to do today. So how about you do yourself a favor and just shut down YouTube right now and go ahead and get back to the work you were doing. Realistically, it's going to take 10-15 minutes to get back into it, but don't let another distraction, steal 30 minutes of your day.